Welcome to Busting Fear. I played that phone ringtone because I want you to know that we are open to talking to anyone that has an interesting technique to bust fear. So our intention here is to share information that we have come across in our over 190 years of experience and learn how to bust through fear, because there's a fear matrix out there that has been created and we can step out of it. And I need to thank the hosts of The Underground, Adrian and Mike, because they inspired us to create this show. So the three of us have gotten together and we're going to share information that we've learned, techniques that we might have come across that have helped us. Tonight's our first show and we want to present a little introduction of each of ourselves. And so tonight we're going to start with Dixie. I'm Carol and this is Sue. So Dixie, would you like to go ahead?
Okay. Hi, my name is Dixie Karras. I was born in 1946, so I'm the leading edge of the baby boomer generation. I was born in Idaho with a farm family, and then my dad worked for the railroad, and I spent my childhood in Idaho, but then they decided to move to California, and so we moved to the Bay Area, and I went to school, graduated from high school there. And I'd like to say that I'm going to attend a 50th year reunion this fall in October. Anyway, we lived in San Jose and I went to college there. I was there at the college for about 3 years, and then I ended up meeting a guy and we got married the third year, and he got a math teacher's job in Redding, California, so we moved to Redding, California, and I went with other people. We went down to Chico State, it was called in those days, and I graduated with a BA in social sciences in 1969. No, 1969. Then we decided to go into the Peace Corps before we started a family, and so from 1971 to 1973 we went to West Africa, the Gambia, and we spent 2 years there. We were in a completely different culture. It was a very, very interesting experience, and I taught English and art, and my ex-husband taught math, and we really enjoyed our time there. Then we came back to Redding, California. He resumed his teaching. We had 2 sons. They are now 34 and 39. Then we had invested in real estate during the late 70s when the boom was on, and we were going bankrupt because my ex-husband went into real estate. A good time, but then the recession hit in the early 80s. So we moved to Vancouver, Washington. My brother and his family live here. And eventually we got good jobs. It took a while. Eventually my ex-husband and I were going on different paths, so I decided that I would leave him after 25 years. Then I decided to move to Arizona because I had good friends that had moved there. And I created a little Cup of Heaven coffee house in the mountains of Arizona. And I made so many friends. I really enjoyed it. And so anyway, I had to move to California to help my parents with some medical problems. And I worked in a pie shop and with the orchard and pies, and then I went into the Red Cross for a year and helped people prepare for earthquakes. Then I worked on the 2000 census, and then I had a serious auto accident. My little Ford Ranger pickup was hit head-on by a Dole Fruit Company agricultural truck. And I had 101 broken bones, a serious head injury, was in the hospital for 3 months in 2 hospitals. I don't remember the accident or the first 2 months. I've recovered, and it led me down a different path that I am really enjoying. It was a blessing in disguise that the accident happened, and now I'm here, and we're going to be talking about some very interesting things. I'm very spiritual, metaphysical, and I'll tell you about some subjects that I'm interested in as we go talk on.
I just wanted to add that what is unique about Dixie, myself, and Sue is that we all have different backgrounds. Dixie grew up in a metaphysical background with a strong influence from her mother, and she shared earlier when we were prepping for this that your mother told you about things that she read. She encouraged you to go to an Edgar Casey workshop or school.
Yes.
Something
Yes.
like that.
And I learned hand analysis in that one-day workshop, and I expanded on it, and I analyzed hands, and I really enjoy doing that.
And so then my background is growing up in Pentecostal Christianity, and then Sue's background is growing up in a culture, family culture with no spiritual or religious background. And so she had an interesting, I think quite a profound event at the age of 7 to say, what do you want from me? So would you like to share a little bit about how that journey has brought you to where you are today, where you want to participate in busting fear?
Yes. My experience as a child, I was out in the front yard, and there must have been some family drama that had been going on because I wasn't a happy camper at the moment. And but I looked up into the heavens and went, if there's a God, what do you want me to do here? I don't know what to do. Just tell me what to do. And there was an honest degree of distress about it. It was like, okay, I'm here, now what? And as time went on, the question still remained with me because there was the question was what's this life about? And again, what am I supposed to be doing here? And I really, at a very young age, had this search of there has to be more. I mean, you're born, you grow up, and then you die. It was like that wasn't enough, and it didn't answer the questions. And so I was searching for more meaning. And as time went on, in my late teens, actually I did a little bit of transcendental meditation. I got involved, and my mom actually was concerned that I might join a cult. And was a little, be careful about who the people you hang out with. And then as I got into my 20s, and again, I also had a natural belief that there was more. I believed that there were other universes. I believed that there were ghosts. I believed in that non-seen reality. It wasn't necessarily experienced or believed by my family, but I did have an aunt who believed in ghosts, and so nothing, any of the metaphysical stuff was not off limits. We discussed those things kind of openly as they arose, especially in our 20s, in my 20s. And so as my 20s came along, and Shirley MacLaine on Johnny Carson, I think it was, and promoting Out on a Limb. And she spoke about everything I always wanted to know. And of course, she talked about the UFOs, her past life, and then most importantly, Seth, and which was a book written by Seth and Jane Roberts. And Seth's information talks about everything about how consciousness works, how it works in the physical and in the non-physical, and how the two planes of existence, if you want to say, interface with one another. And I literally read for 2 years. I was like, my kids, and as I read the Seth, I knew this information, and that was so uncanny because again, I felt that I couldn't have known it, and yet I'm reading it. It's like I know this. How do I know this? And so as time went on, I explored. Of course, it opened up doors spiritually for me, and of course I seeked out those people that were talking about all things spiritual in the afterlife and past life and auras and chakras and all of that. And then I met Master Dewalcool in 1986, and of course he's an ascended master who also is a channel that came through a woman named Kathleen Kingdon, amongst other people. He comes through regularly to a lot of people, and but this is who I met him through, and his teachings are based basically on the ego and how the ego has tripped us up, so to speak, and how collectively we're so tied to it we don't even see that we're living in it, and it has become a part of us. And of course the healing of it and where it comes from, and the manifestations of it, and which I believe is what our show is going to be about, because again we have a system that has become very powerful that in my mind is like a giant ego that is taking power and manipulating our reality and filling us with fear and I just went blank. Filling us with fear and deceiving our reality, manipulating our reality. And so then there came a time, which has been in probably the last couple of years, 3 years, that it was time to shift away from Master and connect with the Master inside myself. And, because again, I spent years and years about trying to clear out the negative ego, which I've made a lot of inward healings on that, but it's ongoing. It's still as we speak. I'm not free of it completely, but the journey for me is now about going inside and who is this essence that flows through me? I don't have a clue except for what somebody else tells me. And so to get a intimate relationship, and it has been through meditation, is where I'm at now. And yet in that healing, I'm also being asked to venture outward. And so walking through this show, busting my fear, and being in front of an audience, including you, and speaking like this is my step forward into a new reality of freedom, and because I've caged myself. So that's my experience, and I will give a little background. I'm married to Gary Williams. I have 3 children, a stepson and 2 daughters. I have 6 grandchildren. The 6th one is going to be here in June. Anyway, that winds me up.
Okay. Have you discovered what the divine source wants from you yet?
Yeah, wants me to shake my fears and to move out of this space that I carry a lot of I'm going to just say an unworthiness kind of mentality, and my hearts and dreams are in a free expression, which
Can you use a black marker? I can't read that, I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, or how are we on time? We're okay?
Okay, we have about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, well, I
20
thought that
minutes,
had to
or
do with some,
17 minutes and 42 seconds.
I thought that had to do with some time, so, anyway, so, yeah, I think it's stepping forward and not being confined to my fears, my egoic fears, and, you know, and I don't know where it's gonna take me, and that's the mystery, and the mystery was always an uncomfortable place, and then when Gary had his health issue, it became a friend. To stay in the mystery and not project, you know, this could happen, all these negativities. When that's when it actually was a nice place to be, and I like that now. Even right now, as we're going through this, if I just stay out of looking or sounding funny or stupid.
Oh, come on. That's stupid.
Well, what I'm saying is that no, I'm not.
No, I mean, the divine wouldn't
No,
think that of you
no,
ever.
the divine is not.
No.
But the ego self,
The
yeah.
ego, right.
You know, it lowers everything.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, so and it's a matter of just now openness and see where it goes, and it's joyous, you know, and I'll share later maybe, maybe on the air, maybe not, an experience that has to do with busting fear.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, the message Mike was trying to get to me was to remind folks that this is a live internet broadcast and we can take phone calls. So if you would like to share your busting fear techniques, or you have a question for either of the three of us that are up here, the number is 360-693-7544. That's 360-693-7544. And in the meantime, I'll share my background. My background is that I grew up in Pentecostal Christianity, and it was a very family-oriented environment. We would go to church, and then after church, we would go over to the pastor family's house and eat pie. Or on Friday nights, I think we had church on like Sunday, and then Wednesday night and Friday night. And then they would come over on Friday nights to my adopted grandparents. They weren't really my adoptive grandparents. They just, you know, were like my grandparents, and we were connected together. And they would come over to grandma's, and we would have pie, and I would play with the children of the preachers, and we were good friends. So I was in that for most of my youth. And there reached a point in my parents' life where they just didn't want to have anything to do with God, and I would just say, I gotta go to church, I gotta go to church. And so they would run me over to grandma and grandpa's, and they would let me go off to church with these people. And I was just fascinated, because people would speak in tongues and run around and not run into anything and dance in the spirit and get healed and fall on the ground. And to me, it was just absolutely fascinating to watch. So then later on, when I was about 17 years old, my family moved, and we were searching for another church, and my father found this church. It was a stone building, and it was beautiful stained glass windows. That's what attracted him to it. And so we started going to that church, and what had happened is that the previous pastor had been decapitated, so they were really without a pastor. And so we came in when someone else found somebody in Chicago to come and start being the pastor of that person. There were probably about 80 people there or so. And it dwindled down to about 10 in about 2 years, because the teachings were quite revolutionary, something I had never heard, but made sense to me, because they integrated both the Old and New Testament, so it captured you intellectually. And then because we started having these meals together and doing work projects together, created that family orientation again, where you blended and you shared and you were a part of this group. And then let's see, I was there for about 16 or so years, and then something happened and I got blasted out of that, and it was not a fun experience. I had been brought to the edge of myself where I actually felt like I wanted to commit suicide because it was such a painful experience. You have 120 people that you've gotten to know over the years, and all of a sudden, that whole life just is terminated. It's gone.
Yeah, it's a type of death.
Yeah, it is. It was. It was a huge. It was emotionally wrenching, and so I was left with, how do you create another life?
Yeah.
Well, for about 10 years, I didn't do anything. I just walked away totally from anything Christian. What's interesting, in Pentecost, it was the devil was in charge, and in this other church, God was in charge. So when I left there, I didn't look for God, and I didn't look for the devil, and I didn't find them. And I go, so you get what you look for. Okay. And then if you don't look for it, you don't find it. Okay. So then somehow I made a connection with Sue, and I don't even remember how that all came about. And so then we started pursuing those teaching and learning to, I didn't know what a metaphysical was.
It was a TV show, remember?
Was
It was
the personal transformation show, was that it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that never went anywhere.
Yeah. But isn't that interesting, though?
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And so anyway, that second church that I ended up in actually became a cult. And it's like the frog in the pot.
Yeah.
And you don't know that that's what's happened. And actually, lately, I've been kind of intuiting a topic which, unfortunately, psychology and psychologists have really dropped the ball. In fact, one doctor says is not really talking out about psychopathic systems that are influencing this world today and creating this fear matrix. And as I've been studying this topic, I've kind of intuited what I think this is, and now I'm finding information that what I'm intuiting, people have written about already. So it's like confirming what I'm intuiting this is. And you can learn to recognize these psychopathic systems and walk away from them. You can't do anything about them, but you can recognize the earmarks to walk away. And so that's a topic I have been pursuing just in the last month or so, and it's really quite interesting. So as we go on with the series, I will be presenting, that will be an ongoing topic, but in the meantime, we don't want you to get bogged down in just that. But that's what's resonating with me. So Dixie has someone she wants to introduce that wrote a book about past lives, and bring him on, and she'll ask questions of him. And then my question to him is, how does that help you bust through fear, accepting the concept of past lives, and would you do that? And how does that make you be a better person now on this journey? And then Sue, when she comes up with some people, I think your sister would be good. Mm-hmm. If she would be willing. Mm-hmm. I mean, she can call in. Mm-hmm. You know, we can have conversations.
She just may ring.
Yeah, if she would call in, that would be nice. Call us.
She already told me she would.
Give the phone number again.
Oh, yes. All right. 360-693-7544. We have about 9 minutes left, folks.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to continue sharing or bring up, or?
No, I think, at least not for me, I think,
Okay.
getting in more of the direction we want to take, and we can each maybe say something about that.
Okay.
And I'm with Carol, when I first came to the Underground show and we were watching that, and when you were a guest and you were asked to talk about some of that, the conspiracy stuff, and the things that are happening in our system, and when I say system, in politics, our food, our, 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm going to say the negative ego, and is there's so much fear and greed. And I think what some of the information we want to put out there is to go beyond that. And to see, especially Carol, that's her focus, and I would be totally behind it, is if you can educate to see how they're manipulating and controlling us, we can vote, hopefully, and if we can't vote, we can come together and, say no from a wise place, from an educated place, and not allow these bullies, basically, because they are manipulating things. I mean, they have forgotten that we're smart people. And even in the materials that they write, have you ever, in fact, I was taking care of a gentleman who was an English teacher, and he would read insurance papers and things like that. You ever notice how confusing they are? And we said that was part of the fear matrix. They make it to where it is confusing. And if you're confused, then it's kind of like you'll go away and, disempower us. And so
I think personally that there is a consciousness change going on throughout this world.
Right.
And that's why we have this show right now. It's to reach out to the people that are seeing things from a different perspective now. And we can talk about this, we can put it out there, whereas you can't find this information, in the public level very often now. So anyway, but I think it's happening now.
yeah.
I'll just close with the concept of creating this Star Trek experience here and now. We don't have to wait for the 23rd century. In fact, I just read an article today about what Gene Roddenberry, and what he was pointing out is that we have the ability to see through this, and we can create that Star Trek experience now, because he believes we are not stupid, we are not ignorant, we don't believe this non-cooperation that they're trying to throw at us. We do want to cooperate, we do want to get along, we do want to appreciate each other's differences and ideas and figure out how to move forward, and it's a matter of choice. That's one of the ways to step out of the psychopathic systems that create this fear matrix, is to choose and create the Star Trek, aspire to that Star Trek experience.
And for those of us that don't know what that is, she's going to let us know. Because I don't.
I'm trying to find a quote here that was, let's see. The whole show, Star Trek, the whole show was an attempt to say that humanity will reach maturity and wisdom on the day that it begins to not just tolerate, but to take a special delight in differences in ideas and differences in life forms. We tried to say that the worst possible thing that can happen to all of us is for the future to somehow press into a common mold where we would begin to act and talk and think and look alike. We cannot learn to actually enjoy those small differences. If we cannot learn to actually enjoy those small differences, take a positive delight in those small differences between our own kind here on this planet, then we do not deserve to go out into space and meet the diversity that is almost certainly out there. One more minute? Okay. And he said, I'll read further. And I think that is what people respond to. The result of that was that 7 years after being dropped by the network because of saying those things, there are now more people watching it than ever. Of course, he said this a few years ago. And if you ascribe these things to any mystic or scriptural brilliance in Star Trek, you miss the entire point. For Star Trek proves, as faulty as individual episodes could be, that much maligned common man and common woman has an enormous hunger for brotherhood. They are ready for the 23rd century now, and they are light years ahead of their petty governments and their visionless leaders. And we're out.